Joining us right now is Grover Norquist, president of Americans for Tax Reform. And hi, Grover. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. Delighted to be with you.
Well, good to have you back. I appreciate it. I hear the kids in the background. That's always a good thing.
Yes, we're wrestling kids today.
Excellent. Okay. All right. So the Obamacare Repeal Coalition. You're looking to have the Republicans and the Congress delay this for a year, or just get rid of it altogether?
Well, ultimately, the goal is to completely repeal every bit of Obamacare, and then to replace it with something that actually is useful for consumers. More competition, not less competition. More transparency, not less transparency. But right now we have a president who thinks of this as his personal success in life, since he doesn't have many others. And he is not going to sign a bill to eliminate Obamacare. We're going to take a different president for that. What we can do, and what about 40 different groups signed a letter, and we're just that idea was just endorsed today by the Republican chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Camp. It says, look, since the president has admitted that he's not ready for prime time Obamacare, and he needs to delay for a year his mandates on big businesses, let's delay the mandates on small businesses and individuals for 1 year. Let's delay the tax increases for a year, and let's delay all of the subsidies for a year. Basically, delay most of Obamacare for 1 year, all the particularly new ridiculous bits that we're supposed to just start this coming year. And I believe that this is the sort of reform delay that Obama could actually sign, looking the American people at the eye, and not feel completely humiliated. He is already, and we need his signature if we're going to do something. Okay, it's not. I'm all in favor of passing another law in the House that says this thing goes away. Problem is the Democratic Senate doesn't sign the bill, and the president doesn't sign the bill. But the president has already admitted that it's not ready for prime time. Senator Baucus, Democrat head of the Finance Committee in the Senate, said that there's going to be a train wreck. The head of the Obamacare exchanges for Connecticut said, I really wish we had another year to get this done. So if we delay it for a year, by law, not by the president selectively delaying some pieces of it. If we delay it for a year, it will make it easier to kill it in the future, but it's something that we could actually achieve. We could get the president's signature on, because there's an interest he has. He doesn't want this thing to be blowing up in America's face as he goes into the 2014 elections. So we can use his fear of being defeated at the polls, the Democrats in the House and Senate, for a year's repeal or a year's delay. And I believe that a year from now, this Obamacare is still going to be a lousy idea, still won't work, but we will have been spared its implementation now, and we live to fight another day to, as you were pointing out earlier, make sure this never actually happens.
All right, so this does seem, and then that would make the 2014 election a referendum on whether or not basically to go forward. Although we'll come to this point next year. It'll be before the elections. Once again, we'll be faced with, October 1st as a basic start date for implementing most of the things. And it'll be before the election. So if the Republicans are going to try to defund it then they'd come up against the same problems they would run into now, which would be a possible shutdown of the government. So what I'm saying is, it's going to it won't even go so far until, because the election's November. So they'll have to, if they delay it, then they'll have to agree to start it before the 2014 elections if it only goes for 1 year. And then it'll be implemented, while the elections are taking place. And I think once it's implemented, it's never going to stop.
Well, a year from now, you're quite right. If we delay everything for a year, we come back. I believe the Republicans will do well in the Senate in 2014 and strengthen in the House. Then a year from now, we come back with a stronger Republican House, a stronger Republican Senate, and a president who's on his way out, and Democrats looking to run for president who are less invested in Obama's version of Obamacare. And yeah, I think we go back and probably the most likely good solution a year from now is another year's delay of implementation. It's a little bit like a guy who's on death row who keeps getting commutation.
Yeah, reprieves. Yeah.
Reprieve.
The governor keeps calling. Yeah.
Well, it's better to get those calls and get another year than.
No, I would say absolutely, but I don't have confidence that Obama. I mean, this man will do it in your face just to be in your face. Now, let me ask you this: the alternative is that the Republicans, and I don't think they will. In my view, it's unfortunate. Stand for something. Rally the country. Rally their conservative base around this and say, hey, we're not going to be the ones closing the government down. We will not give the money to the IRS to get involved in health care. Now, if the president wants to close the government down over that, that's his problem. But here, American public, is why we cannot let this happen, and spell out the disaster and the train wreck and say it's not us shutting the government down. It will be the president shutting the government down. I mean, I know you can't get that message out through the media because they will have it the other way, but can't the Republicans stand for something as tremendous as this and say this is where we take our stand?
No, the answer is absolutely yes. And I have a daughter. One second. I've got a daughter who's just upset about something. Let me step away.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No. We're cool now.
Okay.
She was upset, I think, at the idea of Obamacare being similar to put on the American people. And she just decided she'd had it. The Republicans have repeatedly voted in the House to repeal Obamacare and to chip it back. 9 of the votes that they've cast have actually passed the Senate, and the presidency has signed them. So when the president says there have been a bunch of meaningless votes against Obamacare, 9 of them drew blood. 9 of them changed the law to make it less bad. So this is another thing. Look, you put in a tree this year, 3 years from now, its roots are down there, it's tough to take it out. I would rather have a Republican president 3 years and a Republican House and Senate that has to pull out root and branch Obamacare that's only been in place for a year or 2, not when it's been in place for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
So there's an argument that delay makes victory easier later. Look, it's not a short thing. Elections have costs. We lost the House. We lost the Senate. We lost the presidency. We have the House. We can stop new bad things. We can't make the other team sign anything they don't want to sign. And we should never plan on, we're going to leverage our majority in the House to force Democrats in the Senate to vote against their entire life and the president to sign a bill that's against his entire worldview. We wouldn't do that. If this were the other way around and there was a Republican president, a Republican Senate, a Democratic House, and the Democratic House said, do everything we want, we wouldn't say, okay. We'd say, to heck with you. So if you were on the other side of the chessboard, how would you play it? We need to constantly ask ourselves that. That's why I like the strategy, and it seems to be the emerging consensus. Delay it for a year. The president's already wanted to delay part of it for a year.
Well, what has Grover? What has the Democrat? I mean, have you gotten any Democratic congressional support on this at all?
Well, we have in the sense that Baucus has announced the whole thing's a train wreck.
Well, okay, right. Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
That's not a bad endorsement.
No, not at all. All right, Grover, yeah. I really appreciate your time, and go take care. How old's your daughter?
She's 4 years old, and she's out of around Lake Chautauqua, where it's just beautiful, a little cool, and I think it's time to go home today.
All right, great. Thank you for making an accommodation for us, Grover. Thank you. All right, Grover Norquist, ladies and gentlemen, president of Americans for Tax Reform, who wants to delay the implementation of Obamacare for a year.